Joining us today on Dolphin Tales is JU basketball alum and the current principal at Riverview High School, Ivin Gunder. Ivin, thank you for joining us today.
All right, good morning. Thank y'all very much. I appreciate you all having me.
Yeah, not a problem. So I got to tell you, this morning when I was on the way to campus, I told my kids I'm going to school and I'm talking to the principal, and they gave me that like, "Are you in trouble?" look. So
Hey, listen, that's everybody's, and I try to, one of my main things is try to make connections with students all the time. And I say, hey, stop by my office, yada, yada, yada. And they come in wide out like they did something wrong. And so I have to preference it to say, you're not in trouble. I just want to have a conversation, so.
no, that's great. And I know you've done a lot as far as an open door policy. I tried to read up a little bit on just your philosophy, and I know there's been a lot of news about you becoming the principal there. One of the things I want to talk to you about is it's kind of that feeling of oh no, I'm going to the principal's office, and when I was growing up, you never wanted to go there. And I see especially with my kids and knowing the way kind of the world has shifted, kids are seeing themselves more comfortable coming to authority. I know that's something you're really working on. So can you tell us a little bit about what you've done in your role there?
So the role as a principal over the years, probably when we were in schools, the principal is kind of more the managerial person of the school. So we have since shifted that to being almost an instructional leader, so to speak. But with that, you have to make connections. And I just think that's just my personality. I thrive on being a people person, so naturally I get to be myself. I love meeting people. JU has a lot to do with that, just kind of getting out your comfort zone and just working with kids. I always try to remember what it was like for me, being in high school, and you see your principal, and I want to take away that negative, stigma there. And it's all positive. Even if I have to have a tough conversation, I'm gonna do it with grace. I'm gonna do it with class and with a smile on my face. And that's the kind of perception I had even when I was in the classroom as a teacher.
Ivan, how did your journey to education start? Is this something you knew you wanted to do from the get-go early on, or did you discover this later on in your life?
So I honestly started at JU. It was my junior year, and I was one of those guys that was a procrastinator. And going into your junior year, I don't know if the rule is still the same, but you had to declare a major. So Coach Durham called me in his office. He said, "Ivan, you got to declare what you want to do." I said, "Coach, I don't know. I just want to play basketball." I didn't have an idea. So at that time, that night, he said, "When you come back tomorrow, you have to declare a major." So that night, true story, I went home watching TV. Some came across about Michael Jordan. And at the time, everybody wanted to be like Mike. Somehow I found out that he majored, or at one time majored in geography at North Carolina. So the next day I came to Coach Durham. I said, I'm a major in geography. And that's how I got my major in geography. So when I graduated from JU, two of my professors, Ms. Shelley Grant and Dr. Otakowski, they just talked to me a lot about, hey, you have some people skills here. What do you want to do? And so I just knew I wanted to help kids in some capacity. And it just happened to really fall into education and teaching. And I was not an education major, so I just kind of fell into it and just got better over the years and grew to enjoy it.
That's awesome. And one of the things I saw is trying to deal with the pandemic. Everyone's talking about it. We've dealt with that a lot in the interviews that we've done up to this point. But what are some of the things that you're doing specifically to help your students get through this this unprecedented time as we've heard?
Oh, well, we didn't hear a lot about mental health when we were coming up. We heard a lot about, you just got to find a way and suck it up and get through it, and I get that. But being in the trenches here, mental health is a real deal. So with the pandemic, I just transitioned to Tampa here in June, but previous, I was in Clay County for the past 18 years in Orange Park as a teacher, administrator, and principal. Last year, my last school, we had some in May, we had some students that lost some family members, and they lost their jobs too as well. So I'm sitting in my office one day during this, and it was all new. I was like, what can I do to just help people smile? So, and that's when, I came up with this idea, all right, the dancing principle, let's get on TikTok. So at the time, all the kids on TikTok. So I created this thing on TikTok didn't think much of it, but I want to give students the opportunity just to sit back and relax and just smile and be goofy and that kind of stuff. So that's what it came about. So to answer your question, I really try to hone in on the students and the teachers. This pandemic is affecting adults as well. And I just try to bring some type of a sense of concern, compassion to them. And also just try to find a way to make them smile. I do random things here, I know you all know about the nothing but bundt cakes. Some a random day, I just take bundt cakes to teachers, just something to make them smile or something like that. Anything I can do to help them relax a little bit, I try to do that on a daily basis.
So you beat me to it. I was going to ask you about the dancing principle and the hashtags and TikTok and all that. So maybe we can get you at the end of the interview to show us little moves, maybe.
Listen, you have to go and check on those out on your own.
Don't tempt me to edit one in, all right? We may drop that in over the top.
Hey, listen, I'm a guest on your show. How you do it, that is totally up to you.
What has the day-to-day been like, though? I mean, we've heard, for myself, I don't have any children in school. Pat does, but I know even school by school, district by district, really, it's different in how you all are handling this. What are you all doing to try and make this as successful as possible in keeping the schools open for students to be able to attend in person, which we've heard is such a big goal?
So it's a grind. It's a daily grind. It's kind of like, I was talking to one of the basketball coaches here and I was telling them, I don't think I can be in this position if it wasn't for basketball. You think of those practices and tour days and conditioning or any sports of that, just that grind mentality and not give up. So it's a daily grind. But any day, I used to, as an early principal, I used to schedule my day out. Well, I stopped doing that because it just doesn't go that way. You throw in COVID and the pandemic and things of that nature. And if we have a positive case, that takes about, 45 hours on itself to do contract tracing and so on. But still, you want to be attentive to make sure that all the CDC guidelines, students wearing masks, we're practicing social distancing, which can be a challenge of a school. We're about 2,500, but the students and teachers have been great here about that. But you still want to do instruction. You still want to build that capacity. Life doesn't stop with that. So you still want to make sure, teachers are providing strong instruction for the students and students are taking ownership of their learning. So you still have that with the pandemic, and the other nuances that come on, every day of a school. So you're going here and there and around. I probably get about 12,000 steps in a day, on a regular day, just with everything going on. But I have a great administration team here. Everybody has been welcoming. The transition has been different, but you know what? You do what you got to do and you make it work.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about your time here at the university. I know you're from the area, so getting to play in front of your hometown team. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that to start off?
Well, originally I went to Western Illinois out of Riverview High School. So we had, at the time, Riverview, we were state champions my junior and senior year. So we were pretty good. And Jay, you didn't recruit me out of high school. I didn't think I was very good. I thought I was okay. So I went off, 2 years at Western Illinois, and then I had a sister that passed away. And I just thought I just want to be closer back home. That happens a lot. And some word got out, and Coach Durham had just took the job, the spring before, to JU. He gave me a call, and I'm thinking, Hugh Durham from Georgia? Like, this guy coached Dominique Wilkins. Like, he's calling me? Like, I'm like, so I had just came up from a recruiting trip to Utah State, and I was going to go to Utah State out there. And then I heard I think it was Larry Eustace was the coach, and he was going to Iowa State at the time. So I didn't want to be in that transition, but the opportunity to come back home and play for a legend, man, I was like, I'm excited. So they did the home visit at Coach Durham. I'm like, we didn't have social media then, but at the time I did. I would have texted out or tweeted out or whatever. But it was just so fascinating to me that Hugh Durham was sitting on my couch. I don't think that happens to a lot of people to have a Hall of Fame coach sit on their couch. I know it happens in the top tier events, but just from a local guy, for me, man, I was floored and I enjoyed my time there. So being able to come back home, and play in front of your hometown. At the time, we played down the Coliseum. And JU, we're not very good. We were at 500, and I get that. But at that time, I knew that basketball was not my ticket. And I just wanted to enjoy my last 2 years and really get my degree. So, and he pushed that a lot, and still to this day, I mean, I still talk to Coach Hugh Durham, so again, when the college coach says it's about those lifelong relationships, and my experience with JU, it really was, and when I came to JU, football had just started, so there was a lot of buzz on the campus, and the campus has always been very nice, and I enjoyed my time there. For me, going from a college of 36,000 to 2,500, I needed that focus. So when I went to my classes and there were like only 15 to 20 kids in there, I knew I could make it here because I was that kid in school and in college. I needed that help there. But I love JU. I love Jacksonville. And again, just a kid growing up on the north side, having the opportunity to play D1 basketball in your hometown, man, I can't, I'm forever grateful for that.
Hugh Durham, Hall of Famer, as we know, but also Hall of Fame person and storyteller. You got to have a great Hugh moment or two, right? That they can share.
Yeah, you got to have some tough skin too. He will get on you, and some players on the team thought, "Oh, Ivin, you're coach favorite," and I said, "Why do you say that?" Was he never gets on you? Well, I learned when he gets on you, you just say yes, sir. That's just it. But what guys wanted to do, go back and forth or give their reason. No, you don't do that because he's gonna eat you alive. My favorite Hugh Durham story. We were playing Florida State one year, and we were driving over to Tallahassee, and he's old school. He had this rule: the bus leave at 5. You better be on the bus at 4:45, ready to go. So we knew that. It's about 4:50, and his wife is not there yet. And we like, hold on, we finna see what happens here. Coach Durham left his wife. He left Melinda because she was late for the bus and she drove to Tallahassee. That made me a believer right there, so I knew he was real deal there when he left his wife. Best story ever, but you're absolutely right. He loves basketball, he loves people, but he has stories for days, and I enjoy talking to him.
That's what we call dolphin time. I remember that when I was here. If you weren't 15 minutes early, you were late. That's all there is to it.
That is right. And he would let you know it too. And he would, oh my goodness. And you did not want to have to run conditioning, extra with him because, he's that type of guy. You don't need no water. You'll be all right. That's old school mentality. So we try to make sure. But with that, it helps me where I am now. Punctuality, being on time, looking the part, being that part. So all those values I got from him and JU kind of helped catapult me to where I am today.
That's awesome. Yeah, and Coach Durham was here when I was here as well. So I played baseball, and I remember even coming on my recruiting trip, we went to a basketball game. And they were telling me all about the storied team, the
1970 team, yeah,
1970 team. Yeah. And they're showing me all the pictures and they're telling me about Coach Durham and just the history of the university. I'm like, man, this is like a legit D1. This is pretty awesome. Right. And I just remember the feeling of that program, and then to see the documentary. We had Frank Pace on, who directed Jacksonville Who, just to have that kind of history and you being part of that program, and that had to be something special for you coming from Jacksonville and being part of that program.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, seriously, and it was 3 of us. It's 3 of us. Well, actually, I take it back. It's 4 of us. We're 4 best friends. Michael Ross, Toby Frazier, and Sean Platts. And we all local guys and played around the same time in high school with Terry Parker, Jackson, and Paxson. And we talk about it all the time. Like, man, we play for Hugh Durham. Like, it just blows our mind. For us, he's like the Coach K, to us, or the Dean Smith, or the Roy. He's that to us. And man, I tell you, the amount of time he took to just pour in our lives, not just basketball, but just life too. And he's a straight shooter. He's not going to sugarcoat to you. He had this thing. He has this high pitch. Ivin, come on now, bud. You got to do a little bit more of that. He had that way of getting to you and you understanding. But man, I just still just even think about it. I can't believe it. Like, why me? There was a lot more guys in Jacksonville. I think they were better than me as basketball. But he chose me and wanted me to become part of his program. Absolutely grateful for that. And, I'm enjoy every single time I can to get with him.
So, Ivin, what do you think about the groundbreaking on the new facilities and what they're doing to really elevate basketball here at the university?
Jealous, because it didn't happen when I was there. I mean, seriously, it's kind of like, I don't know if y'all had this thing in high school or college, but how people say, when you leave, things get better, and that's kind of, listen, I'm biased to JU basketball, and that is great. That school over there down on the south side, we don't care for them too much, but, it's going to help us putting on a level playing field a little bit, and because JU is private and small and, and its location, people don't know a lot about it. But once you get on that campus, man, and that campus is magnificent. It looks very good. So to add that piece to it, I think that's going to help elevate the program even more and help us, to draw even, more people and more talent there and get us on the playing field, and that's on the way up, but again, I'm excited for that. I'm excited that I was a part of that history. Now that I have kids now, I have a daughter and 2 young sons now, and they're coming up and I can tell them, and I went to that school, and I asked my 6-year-old now, hey, what's your favorite school? He's like, JU, he wants to play at JU. I say, son, you can do whatever you want. But to him, that's a big deal for him, for his dad to play at JU, play basketball. So I understand now when people say that, when you have kids, you get to share those memories with the kids. So as JU go, I go, my family goes. So that's very exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah, the joke around my house is my son wants to play soccer at JU and be a marine scientist. I'm like, you're spending too much time with your mom. You come hang out with me a little bit. Baseball, marketing. Let's do something around those. And
that's right. Yeah, wants to be like his mom. It's cool, but that's their dream and that's their thing. And I didn't put that on him. He just kind of, he just think it's so awesome that my jersey is in my office. He stares at it like, how did you get that up there? It's just the smallest things that make the biggest things to them. So I'm grateful for that. But no, I'm excited to be a part for that, and anything I can do for JU and JU basketball, I try to do that and help out as I can.
No, you talked about the improvements. I mean, I went away for a little bit, lived in Virginia for about 5 years, and came back and visited with Alex, the new AD, and I guess it's not new anymore, but the AD, and yes. Just to see, I mean, the fact that we're doing an interview from the River House, the old president's residence, and right, yeah. Just the improvements, not just specifically within athletics, but the campus overall. I mean, it was always this beautiful, kind of rough, beautiful yeah. campus. Yeah. Like more. It seemed more historical and a little bit of love.
Right.
And to see it now, it's just incredible what's happened. So the administration and the athletic department has just done an unbelievable job. People that come back that I talked to, that I played with, can't believe the difference on campus. It's truly incredible.
No, I agree with that. Being a geography major, location, and on that water, man, listen, I tell you, when you get people on that campus, they are just blown away. Like, this is just great. And you speak baseball, man. I wish I would have understood the magnitude of baseball more when I was in school than I do now, but being able to go to a game now with the river in the background, the lights, I mean, that's just big time. I mean, who else has that? I mean, only thing close I can think is probably Bishop Kenny, maybe the high school that's over on the water, possibly, but that is just, that you hit that on the head. That is just great. So, and they continue to find ways to improve, which is more impressive with that. So just years to come and decades to come, JU is going to be a very, very special place.
I always loved the river, especially when the wind was blowing in. I was a pitcher, so anytime we had the wind blowing in, it was going to be a good day. If it was blowing out, it was going to be a rough one.
I got you. That's good.
Ivan, I happen to go to Bishop Kenny High School, now work at JU, so I've really gotten something about the river. It must do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Must do it for me.
Waterfront property, yeah.
When you were still, local, working in Clay County and stuff, I mean, how often did you have a chance to get around or see the campus during those times and see the developments?
So unfortunately, not as much as I want, because my first 12 years when I was in the classroom, I also was a boys basketball coach at Fleming Allen High School. So as when you coach,
keeps you busy, yeah.
The games are on the same night, and it's just kind of all those dynamics happen there. But just talking about Dr. Odakowski and Miss Grant again, they have always invited me back to their classes to speak. So every year I go see them and I speak their classes about, geography and sociology and things of that nature and in my own personal life. So I try to get over there more now than I did when I was teaching. But now that I'm in Tampa, I just try to find ways to get creative and get there and so on. But it's just something about just being on campus. again, people say you don't appreciate things at that time, and I probably didn't. Being a college student, that was just what you did. You went to class, but now you look back like, man, I wish I would embrace this a little bit more. So now when you go and visit now, I take it all in and just let it absorb the soul a little bit. But my goal is to try to get over there as much as I can and possible, and I have this hidden goal somewhere down in my notebook that one day I can be an employee of Jackson University or something like that, and make that thing come full circle. It'd just be cool to just give back to what was so freely given to me. And that's just kind of how I just try to live my life every single day.
Now, do you have, you get to speak with your own students and things like that. You ever planting a little bug in anybody's ears, like, hey, check out this school where I went, and it could be a good fit?
Yes, absolutely. I do all the time, and they say, the biggest, they say, oh, is that D1? I was like, Google it and come back and talk to me. Go do that. And I hate when people confuse us with Jacksonville State. No, we're not in Alabama. No, sorry. No, we're the real Jacksonville University. I don't know about all that, But absolutely, we have a kid here, a basketball player. He's like, oh, yeah. I said, you're a good kid, and you got some talent, but yeah, I know coach today, you better bring it. You got to have some, you got to have some dog in you. So I don't know if you got any dog in you yet, so they always, think that, I'm always trying to promote, quality people and things of that nature. But also by the academics too. And, we talk about sports a lot, but the academics at JU is just very top notch. I know a lot of my friends that went through that nursing program over there, and they're still nursing today. So the academics that JU offers too, I think is far and beyond, a lot of universities. And it's a very best kept secret there, not only in town, but throughout the state.
Absolutely. Well, Ivan, I don't have anything else. This has been just a great kind of trip down memory lane. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I know you've got a lot going on with your students and responsibilities. Next time you're in town, we'd love to have you on. We always try to invite guests back now that we're bringing this on campus soon, hopefully. So thank you very much for joining us today.
No, thank y'all for having me. Shout out to the AD, Alex. He's been great too. I hooked up with him a couple years ago, and we have just stayed in touch. So he's doing great things there. So I appreciate you all very much, and thank you for having me.